We've all heard the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But in this situation, what happens in Vegas ultimately will come back to haunt you. Yes, we will discuss the John Gruden situation and how do the Raiders play from here on out. Plus, there's been exceptional quarterback play so far early on in this season. But who's been the best and who is the MVP in our books? Plus, the New York Giants. One of their backbones last year was the defense, top notch. But was it just a bunch of overachievers? And we'll give you our first initial top 5 power rankings of the NFL 2021 season. Keys to the City is next.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are streaming on all social media platforms like Keys to the City. So comment, like, subscribe, or share. What a show we got for you today. A Football Tuesday recap of Week 5. We will get into the upcoming ALCS, NLCS. We'll talk about the Red Sox and how maybe the New York Yankees down in the should take a pager out of those Boston Red Sox. Congratulations to the Boston Red Sox and all Red Sox fans. I'm making it to yet another ALCS appearance. But we will be talking all football today. We will start off with the mess that's going on in Vegas. We'll talk about our quarterback MVP race right now, also top 5 power rankings, and the New York Giants defense that was maybe just a bit overachieving last year. But we have to start off with the unfortunate news that is unveiling going on right now currently in Las Vegas. The big news of the NFL season so far, probably the biggest news of the entire NFL season early on right now, is what's going on with Vegas and John Gruden. And you always hear the saying, guys, we all like to laugh about it. We all joke around. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, in this situation, boys, the tides have turned. What happens in Vegas ultimately could come back to haunt you. Now, I know this has nothing to do with the Las Vegas Raiders in the sense of the team, but this has everything to do with who their head coach was. And John Gruden, well, we get the true identity, I guess the true character of John Gruden as he did some very, very bad things and said a lot of bad things. And I know Ted's laughing, but it's a serious matter in the sense of what is going on in the country and how the society has been in the way we're trying to be better and with the way the NFL has been trying to be better. And to see something like this, it's almost like a step backwards in the sense. Just unfortunate. And I wanted to also just talk about this because I was listening to PTI the other day. And Michael Wilbon, who I love watching that show, I'm a big fan of Michael Wilbon, said a really good point. And I think it's a very true statement. Because John Gruden, you know how everybody, whenever situations like this come about, we hear I'm not a racist. Let's stop that narrative because everybody has a sense of prejudice in them. And if anybody that doesn't want to ever say that they don't, they're lying to you and they're lying to themselves. Everybody. And even Michael Wilbon said, I have some prejudice in me. We all have that. You know, some people may not be racist, but we have that sense of prejudice. And we got to see the true John Gruden. So, guys, I want to get your take on this whole situation. We know John Gruden will never coach again, probably will never have a job in this field again or in the sports media field. So not just the team, but what happens from here on out with this whole situation. What do you guys think about it? Ted, if you want to start, I'll let you go with it. Or Joe, whoever wants to take it away, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think we're all going to have the same similar thought. So here's my initial thought. And Trev, we were both on the same thing. First of all, we said, of course, like, what the hell? You know, because when you didn't read all the details, my first initial reaction was like, you know, JC, like, what the hell? Like, we went back 10 years to go find some dirt on people because, let's be honest, if we all went back and looked at our emails or, well, I would never put anything in the email. As Joe and me, you talked, and as Herm Edwards said, don't press send, double check what you write. But you're like, okay, what why would you go back? What did someone pay to get a story? Like, is someone just trying to get a story out there to make a big name for themselves? Because that does happen. Like, people are always looking for that story, some dirt on someone. How does this come out? And I'm like, what the hell, But then and then I read the New York Times. I read the whole story. I figured out what went on, that this wasn't just about John Gruden. This was an investigation on the Washington football team and Allen and the owner and everything else. And then Goodell said, I want all 650,000 emails be read. They went through them the past couple months. And when they circulated through the emails, John Gruden's name popped up. And they went, oh, let's see what's there. Oh, there we go. And we got, we have racist remarks. We have comments about, the commissioner.
Homophobic remarks.
Listen, things that we all joke. I'll use the Eminem thing. We all joke about in our parents' basement, but we all wouldn't say it in public fashion, or you wouldn't say it out loud. We could say it in our basements face to face, but you would never say it to someone's face or say it out in the public. And maybe we could get away with these things 10, 15, 20 years ago. We live in 2020 right now. Some people might not agree with the way the world is right now, but the way the world is, it is what it is. We have to accept it. You can't be saying certain homophobic terms that you used to be able to joke about. You can't say it. You can't be sending nudes of women no more. You just can't. And then we live in a world where everyone thinks you can throw rocks in a glass house, and people got to be careful what they say. But he said things that you shouldn't put on paper, and as a grown man and a guy in his position should not have said.
And at the time, if you remember, he was at ESPN. He wasn't even a coach.
Yeah, he was working.
He was at ESPN working Monday night.
And don't forget, this is all. And here's the other thing. And I'll finish on this. This was also a time in the NFL during 2010 to 2015, even though these emails spanned over 8 years, that there was a change in the football league, okay? We never saw women as officials. There's women now as officials, more regular than in any sport, okay? There's also, I don't know how to, I'll say it this way. There are now gays that play football, if that's the right term of analogy. But there's people have come out that said they're gay that play football.
And one of them is on the team.
So, like,
that's just crazy.
There might have been that long time ago, but that was kind of like you didn't come out, you kept quiet, and that was what it is. It's unfortunate that things come out, and I feel bad for the Raiders, and I feel bad for Derek Carr, because I don't look at like this Raiders team is going to go anywhere now because of all the chemistry that the Derek Carr and John Gruden had built for the past 4 or 5 years. Now has all got washed away. And now what do you say about the Oakland Raiders? After a 3-0 start, where do they go from now here? I think it's uphill, and good luck for the rest of the season to them and Derek Carr.
Joe, finish up on this.
Look, I think this speaks to a greater point. I think for these guys being in charge of a group of 53 guys, and if you look at some of the troubles we've had with coaches in college football, where, look, Urban Meyer down in Jacksonville is having a rough go at things right now. And these guys have like a weird sense of you control those guys in the locker room and on the field, and you think you can just do that in real life. You said John Gruden will never coach again. I disagree. John Gruden will coach again somewhere at some small, FBS
Maybe never
school.
in the NFL.
Maybe never in the NFL again. Although even there, I would bet if he goes back to college in a couple of years, again, you may have to go coach Vanderbilt or somebody like that, and earn your way back in. But he'll do it because the worst part about John Gruden is everywhere he goes, he's successful. And it's the reason he's been able to get away with it. It's the reason why you have people like Rick Neuheisel. Most of these big-time coaches, dude, look at the biggest coaches, Jim Boeheim, Bobby Bowden. I mean, the list is a mile long. There's a certain level of success where you just feel entitled to say and speak your mind. The same way these guys treat the members of the media is the same way they're treating everybody else. And it's poor and it's immature. The other weird dynamic, and you guys I think will agree with me here, there's something different about a locker room. There's something different about a team. And I don't mean to excuse this at all, but in a locker room, there's a lot of ball breaking. Yeah. And race and ethnicity and sexuality come up, but in a ball breaking, fun kind of guy way. That shouldn't be in company emails.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be directed at the head of the players union. But like you said, Ted, you're welcome to have the thoughts that you have, racist, misogynistic, homophobic, xenophobic, whatever, maybe don't put that down in writing for someone to document.
Yeah.
Foolish. Foolish, but just, again, the sense of entitlement. And then that first weak-ass apology was stunningly inept.
Well, you just wonder how many other guys have done this and now are running back to delete all their emails. It's like this. Hurry up and delete all the emails. Because, listen, you think he was the only guy, right? It's only you think he was the only guy or any guy that's ever had these conversations. Because, listen, Joe, the same way we have a connection through school and our show and this other stuff, right? These guys have connections. What was it, Paul Allen? Or no, not what's Allen's first name? He was the GM for the Washington football team, but Allen, the GM, and Gruden go back years.
Paul Allen.
Was it Paul Allen? Or Paul Allen was the owner of the Seahawks?
Yeah. No, never mind.
But with that being said, they go back to the 90s, so they go back years. Now, listen, these are also guys that were joking about stuff too, women things, other things that you joke about with your boys in group text messages. You just have to be smarter than that, and especially a league that's 70% African American. It just doesn't look good because now everything that the NFL has fought for, and I did kind of agree with Booger last night, where there's like end racism.
Bruce Allen.
Bruce Allen. Thank you, Trevor. And end racism and the Black Lives Matter and all that other stuff. It kind of like this is what they were talking about. As much as you don't want to agree upon it, and I don't always agree how they go about handling certain things, but white coach, privileged coach, 10 years, $100 million, speaking about situations that the NFL was trying to say, that's the old history. Let's try to get something new. Let's be better. You know what I mean?
And that's the biggest thing is just trying to move forward, trying to be better. And a situation like this, it just sets the league back with situations and why they've tried to predicate on it and emphasize it in this whole situation. It's unfortunate to see, but hey, like Herm Edwards once said to players, rookies. Well, this goes for everybody. This goes for not just players. This goes for the regular human being too, not the athlete as well. This goes for all of us. Don't press send if you're thinking about it, and if you think it's going to be a cause controversy or questionable. Just don't press send.
At the end of the day, you know what this is? In all summary, this is a microcosm of what our country is all about and where we are as a society.
Yeah.
Can I share my best piece of advice? I tell all of my students this, and I tell we do a show Monday nights called I'll Piss You Off Shortly. And the number one rule, and pardon my French for a minute, is don't be an asshole. If you live your life according to that credo, I think you'll do well. Just treat people with respect. That shouldn't be difficult to do, especially when you're supposed to be a professional.
Yep. And have some leadership. And that was a complete opposite of what John Gruden did. And he's deserving of parting ways with the Vegas Raiders because you can't go backwards. We got to go forward. And in a situation like this, it doesn't help.
It's ridiculous that a head coach is the story of a team that's having a really outstanding season. What a shame. What a shame.
And it's the biggest story of the entire season so far, early on in the season right now.
1,000%.
The big reason, or one of the main reasons we should be talking the NFL right now, for the great that's been going on and the exceptional play of the quarterback. I know we just talked about the bad and the biggest story, like I said, in the NFL season, but this should be the biggest story right now is the play of the quarterback. And no, Patrick Mahomes is not in this list right now. I know his stats speak for it, but when I saw on Sunday night, it looked like a different Chiefs team. The Chiefs are in trouble, by the way. We're not going to get into the game. The Chiefs are in a lot of trouble. That defense is the definition of atrocious. And Patrick Mahomes in that offense can only do so much when your defense can't stop a nosebleed. But this is what the main story should be right now in the NFL is the exceptional play of the quarterback. And there's about 6 quarterbacks that I have written down right now. And you tell me if you agree or disagree with any of them. Who could be the MVP and who's playing the best right now? So the 6 I have are Tom Brady. Yes, Tom Brady, 44 years old, still killing the game. Josh Allen going into Kansas City and winning a huge game on Sunday night. Lamar Jackson, after an impressive victory last night, an improbable comeback win, and looking like a superstar quarterback, a quarterback that can throw. Oh, my God, he's not just a runner, guys. Dak Prescott coming off of the major injury. Joe, I see your face over there.
I've been listening to ESPN today, and they've been chastising us, the general public, for our ignorance. Because you know how ESPN's been talking about what a great passing quarterback Lamar. I mean, give me a break with that garbage. Everybody feels the same way. The guy had one good game.
Not me.
Throwing the football. One good game throwing the football, and it was because of the disastrous first half he led them to. Down 16, he had to play like that. He proved he's capable of it. We all think Lamar's Superman. I mean, to listen to ESPN literally all day, you were all wrong about. Shut your mouth.
Well, listen, they were down.
Hold on,
give me a break.
Let me finish this.
Well, you're going to say Justin Herbert.
Let me finish this list.
And Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, who's got the undefeated Cardinals, the only team that's undefeated, and Justin Herbert, who just won 49-42 and had like 7,000 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. Joe's favorite quarterback of all time. But
so, let me ask you guys, who's because this is a tough question. You might think, oh, it could be anybody, but realistically, to you guys, I'll start with you, Joe. Who to you is playing the best, and who's the best quarterback right now and / MVP currently? Early on, a quarter of the season over with. Let's start picking our start doing MVP predictions and who's the best quarterback right now in the NFL.
If it's not Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson, then I would say I forgot who my initial pick was. Josh Allen. Oh yeah. To me, it's one of those three guys right now. Right now, the way they're playing and what they're doing for their teams. I'm not talking about last year. I'm not talking about the last 10 years. Because then it would be Tom Brady every time, and that would be the end of the conversation. Okay? Right now, the three guys that are playing the best are those three. With Kyler Murray, I think, right on the peripheral.
What about...
He had a lousy week this week, and I know this because he led me to a fantasy loss.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were Stafford.
You were the one that was losing in that game?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had Marquise Brown. I was like, oh, Joe's going to win by a landslide.
I had Andrews.
Oh.
Yeah, but Andrews had a better game. Andrews had a better game than like 41 points.
How did you lose?
Yeah, bro, I ended up winning. No,
Marquise Brown had 33.
Lamar's on a different team. I got Kyler on a different team. This team, that was the other team last night. It was basically the other guy had Brown. I had Andrews, and it was like whoever has a better day wins the game. Late in the game, I had a 99% probability of losing, and then Andrews caught the touchdown, and
wow,
that was that. Great game.
So your top three quarterbacks right now, if I'm hearing it right, is Josh Allen.
Yep.
Is Justin Herbert.
Yep.
And number 3 is Lamar. Really?
Lamar. Yeah, and I got Kyler on just sitting outside that top 3.
Wow. Okay. Hey, Ted, what about you?
So before last night, I didn't have Lamar in this list. All right. I had Dak. I told you I had Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. Right. I wrote down their completion percentage. Kyler Murray, 75%, Dak, 73%. I know you don't care. They're all, Brady's leading the league in yards at 1,767. Mahomes, even though he's got 16
He's
touchdowns.
averaging 375 a game.
I know. He's got 15 passing touchdowns, which is more than any of the guys on the list. Okay.
That's my fantasy quarterback, baby.
So would mine. He's got 2 picks, 3 for Herbert, 4 for Murray, 2 for Allen, 3 for Beckham. Quarterback rating, actually, Dak Prescott has the best quarterback rating at 116.9. Followed by Murray, then Brady, then Justin Herbert, then Josh Allen. Lamar, and then Josh Allen actually has the worst at 102.5, which is still exceptional. All right. Yeah. You're talking about the 6 best quarterbacks. And if you look at it, everyone only has 1 loss except for Kyler Murray. Now, you got to break it down to this. Tom Brady might have the best offense of anyone in this team. Maybe Dak would be the close second when everyone's healthy. Brady's loaded. Offensively, he's loaded, and he's having a phenomenal year.
He might break his own.
Here's okay. Right now, if I had to say, it's because you live in the moment. Because if you ask me Sunday night,
it's easy for Joe. It's easy for me. It's you make this so difficult
because I have to discuss shit.
No, No, I'm breaking your stone.
This is a
He's
round
having a discussion with himself.
Yeah, he's talking to
He's having a
himself.
discussion with himself about his choices.
Because here's the thing: if you asked me at 8:00, I would have said Brady after another 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Then at midnight, I was like, holy snipes! Josh Allen is he's running over people, he's jumping over people, he's throwing bombs, and he's doing it without a running game too.
Those
They
are
still don't
my,
have
those
a
are my,
running
by the way,
game.
those are my 2 quarterbacks in fantasy.
Okay, and then when I watched the game last night, I'm like, wait, how do we forget about Lamar? His completion percentage every year has gone up. He's at 67%. He's thrown for 1,500 yards, which is more than Dak, Josh Allen, and he's more than Kyler. He's just short of Justin Herbert and Tom Brady. He's got 8 touchdowns, 3 picks, but he's at 341 yards. Think about it. They lost 3 running backs within a week of the season. He's asked probably to do more for his team than any one of these quarterbacks based on the talent around him. Now, he had an exceptional passing game last night. That's what we've been asking for. He's so dynamic. But if I have to pick right now, I got to go with Josh Allen. Because the way I look at it is he has the best team. Now, I don't know if that makes my argument more vague or not, but I look at Josh Allen right now, probably followed by Brady. Because you got to put – how can you not have Brady? His number's almost better than everyone's in the league. Literally. And he's doing it at 45 years old. Yes, I know he's exceptional. Herbert is right there. And Kyler's undefeated. I mean, I don't know
how can you go wrong? Dak's leading a high octane offense.
And here's the thing: Dak might have the best offense in the league, but his numbers are a little bit skewed because Dallas is actually being smart for once and running the football.
Oh, I think
they're leading the league in rushing now.
Yep.
So, and as long as they play against the Giants, they'll average 500 yards a game.
We'll talk about the Giants, D, in a few minutes.
Right now I'll take Josh Allen, but I swear to God, whoever you choose within those 6, you can't be wrong. Herbert's well-deserving, so is Brady, so is Lamar.
So yesterday I posted the question, who would you rather have for 10 years? But then I thought, like, you got Josh Allen and Herbert. Those 2 guys are on another tear right now, both teams.
Yeah, but would you not want Kyler Murray for the next 10 years too?
No, I'm taking either Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. I like it. Here's my thing. My number 1 quarterback right now, how can you go against him? The guy is proving everything wrong in the sense of age, looks. I mean, you tell me a quarterback that's going to be playing at this high of a level at the age of 44. Josh Allen is stupendous. Justin Herbert is phenomenal. Those 2 quarterbacks will be there for a long time and changing this league for a long time coming. But I'm still sticking with the greatest of all time. I can't go against Brady, man. You're 44 freaking years old, leads the league in yards per game, passing, 15 touchdowns, still has a perfect thrown ball at 44. He's leading a dynamic offense right now, and they're on a tear to maybe get to another Super Bowl and repeat as Super Bowl champs. You can't go wrong, Ted, like you said. All these quarterbacks have been playing exceptional. Literally. They are exceptional, and that's why all those teams and the teams we're talking about have a combined record of they're all 4-1 or 5-0. So they're all doing something right, and these quarterbacks are the main reason. And I know we all, well, what about Patrick Mahomes? The Chiefs are in serious trouble, and we saw that on Sunday night. I think the Buffalo Bills exposed the defense as in every team has so far, but especially that offense. And that offense did not look right on Sunday night. And they got a lot of things to figure out in the sense of pass blocking. Patrick Mahomes, if you can just you saw the coverage that the Buffalo Bills played, and Josh Allen was the best quarterback that night. But I'm going right now, I'm not going to go against him. You just can't. If we've learned anything in sports, you don't go against guys like this. You don't. So I got Brady 1. I'm going to go with Josh. I'm going to go Justin Herbert 2. I love what Justin Herbert's doing. And the reason why, and we'll talk about the power rankings too, is just because they're winning games when in the past they haven't. The number 3 for me would be Josh Allen. Those would be the top 3. I know that sounds crazy because Josh Allen is probably the front runner and is the front runner.
Yeah, I think Murray's too. I think Kyle Murray's too.
But that's my top 3. I think every one of these quarterbacks are unbelievable right now.
But this is – sorry, I was just going to say this is the reason why you continually draft a quarterback in the first round until you get one of these guys. And this is why I've been so harsh on Daniel Jones. It's not to affect the Daniel Jones. It's his fault. But Me and Dad had this conversation, Trev, yesterday. When's the last time a Duke quarterback has won a big game? Who the hell are they playing? What bowl games and championship games are they playing? We're Duke. What is Duke, right? Duke's a basketball school. We got a quarterback from Duke. Last time we took Dave Brown. I mean, like, when I look at Daniel Jones, I know we're going to talk about the Giant game. I shake my head. I know he's got talent, but when I look at these, this is what wins you Super Bowls. These 6 guys are exceptional. This is why these 6 teams are the 6 best teams in the league, with the exception of the Rams that are not on this list. And Matthew Stafford ain't having a bad year either. But these 6 guys are so exceptional right now. It doesn't even matter if you're the Chargers and you have the worst rushing defense in the league almost, because your quarterback is just that good to overcome that and score 49 points when you're down double digits. When the Ravens are down 19 points last night and Lamar Jackson drags them all the way back by his arm, he had 40 yards in the second half by himself, 4 touchdowns. I mean, and then Brady, all he does is throw touchdown passes. I mean, there's no one's ever going to touch his records. He's gonna have 100,000 yards passing and 700 touchdowns. He's gonna be like the Babe Ruth of records.
And by the way, nobody's ever touching the Super Bowl wins too. By the way, remember we had that silly conversation, Joe, back in February when the Chiefs were going for the repeat, and we're all jumping ship, saying, or not jumping ship, just jumping on the bandwagon. And Patrick Mahomes is going to win 10 Super Bowls. Well, we'll see how that's going because the Chiefs don't look like
we all picked the Chiefs and Bucks too.
Oh, I know, but we all picked the Bucks. That's still in play. The Chiefs are still in play too, but they have a lot of work to go with.
They won't be going to play an Arrowhead in January.
You just brought up the Giants.
On the road.
You just brought up the Giants, and Sunday's game is something that, well, you can't really write up. You just really can't, in the sense of what went on. And I wouldn't blame – you can't blame the offense because realistically, and I know Joe was probably jumping in joy on Sunday because he got to see his boy play, and
he looked good.
Yeah, but other than underthrowing the ball and getting picked again by Trayvon Diggs. Anyways, I don't blame the offense because when you lose Saquon, when you lose your quarterback who's been playing good, and Kenny Galladay, who's also your number 1 receiver. My thing is, guys, is that defense. What the hell has happened to the New York Giants? Is this the ugly truth, as one of the articles that I read last night at the New York Post? Is this the true New York Giants defense? I got a couple of stats because, I know you guys like to write stats, but guess what? I have some stats too. I can be a statistician guy as well. So here's the Giants' ranks defensively currently. 29. So they're giving up 408 yards per game. That's 29th in the league. 138 on the ground, 27th. 270 through the air, 22nd. Tied 27th, giving up points at 28 points per game. And here's the best one. They have a beautiful 8 sacks, 31st in the league. So we think about this defense last year and where it was. And it was the backbone of this team because the offense at times last year was inept and just looked incompetent. But the defense held their ground and kept them in games and gave them a chance to almost make the playoffs last year. That's how good this defense was. But the question is to you guys. I'll start with one of you, whoever wants to take the floor. Was the Giants D just overachieving last season? And are we getting the true New York Giants defense?
Well, here's one thing, and you forgot to point out, and then I'll let Joe take over because I usually always take over, and I'm the longest. The Giants, at the end of the day,
at least he admits it.
The Giants were missing, by the end of the game, 8 of their original 11 starters from week 1. I don't care if Justin Herbert's your quarterback. You're not winning a football game. I don't know if you guys saw the stats. Matt Pert actually played really well at right tackle based on how they evaluate tackles. Solder, just stay retired, bro. You're god-awful.
He's god. Oh, my God.
I didn't think Mike Glennon played bad, but when you're playing with backups all over the field and you're playing pretty much against one of the best offenses in football, good luck. I just thought a lot of miscues, and that was probably one of the worst games I've seen, not only as a Giant fan, because you got to add the injuries into the part of everything that went wrong for them, and then they gave up 511 yards.
515 yards they gave up.
Which was the most they'd given up since 2015. And it was
okay, Ted, we got you.
What?
They gave up a lot of yards.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe. Because I was going to read that quote too from the paper, you jerk.
No, go ahead.
Listen. The Giants had the ball 12 times. Dallas had the ball 10 times. 515 yards, which means they averaged 51.5 yards every time they had the ball. That's insane. 9 yards per passing play, 5.2 yards per rush, 7 yards per play. I mean, my God, that's ridiculous. 8 out of 14. Dallas was on third down. I talked about that being an issue. This team can't get off the field on third down. They also lost the time of possession battle by 5 minutes, as they do each and every week. It just puts more stress on the defense, and you get that same vicious cycle. But yeah, listen, all day again, I'm hearing about how Lamar's had it so tough with all the injuries to both the offense and the defense in Baltimore. But again, we don't offer the same courtesy to Daniel Jones. Never mind that Daniel Jones doesn't have most of his weapons in his, really never had them all in one game. That he can't have a healthy offensive line.
Kind of like the Yankees.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But again, and I love Lamar, don't get me wrong, but if all the excuses of injured running backs and Bateman's out and defense had some guys out, if that excuse applies to Lamar, why does it apply to Daniel Jones? I just find that very curious, and it happens even with Giants fans who can't recognize the difference here.
Because
they're very similar players.
Because he's not good enough to overcome it. Lamar can to a certain extent.
So one of the ESPN guys said that the Giants should be kicking themselves for taking Saquon, that they should have taken Lamar. And again, my thing would be, I don't think Lamar or Allen would be doing any better as the quarterback of the Giants, given the current state of everything sucks.
I agree with that.
It's really, you know what I mean? You can throw Pat Mahomes on the Giants. I don't know that would really make a difference.
I agree with that statement.
Oh, I agree with. Here's the thing. It's hard to say what I'm gonna say after the game he just had in Kadarius Toney, but if you look at Rashawn Slater right now, he's rated, not from rookies, he's rated as one of the best left tackles in all football. So, I mean, let's look at the Chargers in a microcosm to the Giants. And this is what we'll go back when the Giants did this with Rivers and Eli. But Chargers got Herbert, something the Giants wanted the year before, but he decided to come back from college. So the Giants missed out on Herbert. Okay. The Giants took Saquon, whatever. Could have had other quarterbacks. Can't say what if. And then the Giants could have took maybe the best offensive line player in football coming out of this draft. The Chargers got him. So now you look at your left tackle solidified for the next 10 years. Your quarterback is good for the next 10 years, and they got an exceptional steal who, Trev, you had in the mock draft in first round, but Asante Samuel Jr., who came out of Florida State, has won.
I mean, but that's also the thing, drafting, and we talked about this, and I said this about with Joe Judge. Like Joe Judge, I know people go after Joe Judge, but bad drafting in the sense of look at who they've missed. Look at Dallas. I mean, Micah Parsons was there at 11. Micah Parsons is going to be a star in this league. Whether that's a pass rush and a team that desperately, and I mean desperately, needs pass rushers because they are tied 31st in the league now with 8 sacks. So they need that pass rusher. And Rashawn Slater, 2 guys that were there at 11. Now, Kadarius Toney looks like he's going to be a stud if the Giants handle him correctly. You have a playmaker that you give him the ball. He's electrifying. He looks like he can be an electrifying player for the Giants. But when you look at the need, it was about the need. I know that Toney is, like I said, Toney, and now I know why Urban Meyer probably really wanted Kadarius Toney, because he is an exceptional talent. But it's more about the need. And what the Giants really needed was either a pass rusher, and you could have put Parsons maybe in that situation. Maybe that's just Dan Quinn being Dan Quinn and a great defensive-minded coach, putting him at defensive end / backer, more of a pass rusher than a linebacker. Or they could have Rashawn Slater, who we all thought was a guy you could plug in at left guard, plug in a right guard, right tackle, left tackle. That's what you could have done. You could have had your 2 bookend tight ends.
And not Slater and Andrew Thomas.
Tackles. And the way that Andrew Thomas is playing, it just shows how valuable Andrew Thomas really is to the New York Giants this year.
Now, Trev,
he might be the most valuable player to the New York Giants, because when Daniel Jones, before he got injured, if you look at what that offensive line was, and Nate Solder is god awful. I'm looking up because I'm looking up at God saying, I can't stress it enough. I can't say it enough how bad Nate Solder is.
Question for you, Trev.
Is awful.
And you got to help me out because I'm drawing a blank. Did the Giants take Beckham before Aaron Donald?
Yes, they took him pick before.
So another thing, that the Giants took a receiver and a skill player when they needed pass rush. Now, who knows if Aaron Donald would have been Aaron Donald as he is with the Rams?
Yeah, we can never say who these guys are going to.
But you would assume, based on his work ethic and who he is, he would be very close to who he is in the Rams. And imagine him now, because think about it, we went with the exceptional Beckham. Instead, we went with the flashy person, the person with all the stripes and the sex appeal, instead of going with the blue collar guy that like the offensive lineman. When you knew you needed something that helped our offensive line because you had multiple holes. I mean, just look at it. I mean, imagine if we had Slater this week. Anyway, I mean, it would help. This is a problem that we've been talking about with the Giants forever. This is why for 10 years they suck. Okay, they mishandled their draft picks. They miss on guys. So whoever's doing their scouting is not seeing what
and then they overpay on guys that.
Listen, it happens. 50% of the first round fails. But why can't we ever be on the other 50% of the side? Okay. Here's the other thing. Hold on 1 second, and then I'll let you get to your point. We've done this before, where the big free agents, we get so excited. We got this guy, right? And in the first year, they do really well, and then they fall back to who they really are. Above average guys who had really good career years when it's free agent time, and then they go back to who they are, and then they never progress. They never get better. The reason why I said that, Trevor, is because I just wanted to talk about the 4 or 5 guys that they had on this list so I can make a point. Leonard Williams, exceptional year last year. 11.5 sacks. He was one of the best D linemen in the league, only behind Aaron Donald. Well, this year, after he got a beautiful contract, he's got 1.5 sacks and 4 quarterback hits in 5 games. That's not good enough for a guy that just got a 3-year, $63 million deal. Here's another thing. James Bradbury was one of the best cornerbacks in football last year. Only gave up 455 yards and what?
He's already given up 300. He's already given up
300 yards and 4 touchdowns and a quarterback rating of 117. Here's another exceptional guy that we really love, Jabril Peppers, right? He's been thrown at 17 times this year. I know I put up 4 because he's the completion.
Well, you can't put up 7. At least it wasn't 6.
6. They've completed 14 of the 17 passes against Jabril Peppers this year. That's not good enough for a guy that should be in a contract year. Here's the other thing. Dexter Lawrence was supposed to be this big run stopper, help the Giants. Well, Trev, you just gave it. The run defense sucks. I mean, he's part of the problem. They haven't been the same since they lost Dalvin Tomlinson. What's he got? He's got 0 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 offsides penalty that cost the Giants a win in week 2. That's not good enough. Yep. That is not good enough. Now, listen, we can talk about the offensive injuries. Joe, you're 100% right. When you lose your running back, your 3 receivers, your tight end, I don't even know if Evan Ingram's on the team. Watch for him to be traded, especially now that Arizona just lost Max Williams for the season with a torn ACL. Giants should flip him right now.
Can you imagine Evan Ingram on that offense? Trev, can you imagine Evan Ingram on that offense? Watch, Evan Ingram will become a star.
Trev, do you understand what I'm seeing right now? This is our Madden team. When we got PS4, we had Evan Ingram, we had Saquon, and we have Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins on the Arizona guard, and we were unstoppable. We didn't give a hell about our defense.
We were disgusted.
What I'm saying is, and it was in the thing written by Ryan Dunleavy, is maybe the ugly truth is no one wants to face it. The Giants' defense strong performance last season, especially during their 5-3 finish, was fueled by a perfect storm of career best years and was not some starting point to what we would build upon. It wasn't a building block where these guys are going to get better. The Giants' defense better get better real soon, real quick, or we're going to be looking at another top 5 pick again.
Well, it doesn't look any better this week against the LA
Don't
Rams.
do much better in here, kid.
Yeah, much better in here, kid. Joe, finish up this point. Are you surprised by seeing what the Giants have, what the Giants defense has ultimately become this season?
Yeah, I'm shocked by it. I don't know if I necessarily go along with that assessment. I mean, clearly Leonard Williams had a career year. I think the loss of Dalvin Tomlinson is much bigger than anybody ever anticipated, to be quite honest. Trading BJ Hill, I don't know that I love that move either. The Blake Martinez injury is devastating. I think one thing that Giants fans have done a really poor job at is recognizing just how good Blake Martinez is. And to watch Crowder and Ragland They looked a little confused at times against Dallas. There seemed to be a lot of confusion
for a reason. That's why they've been on 3 different teams.
Precisely. So listen, if because here's the funny thing. I think Chicago's pick is actually going to be a lot higher than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, what are they doing? Stop winning. What are they doing?
My boy Justin Fields, bro.
Our only choice might be to continue losing. At least make one of those a top 5 pick.
Well, Joe, if anything, the schedule shows that there's could be a lot of L's.
They're a 10.5-point dog this week home against the Rams. They still play the Chiefs. They still play Tampa. Now the Raiders, that looks like a winnable game now after everything that's going on with them.
Panthers could be a winnable game too.
We got 1 win coming up in the next 4 weeks.
Joe, your Panthers pick doesn't look too hot right now, buddy.
Well, that was a terrible loss.
Anyways,
they'll be fine. Carolina will be fine.
Joe's
that was a terrible loss, though, to the Eagles.
Joe's been talking to Matt Rule. He's been saying they're good. They're good. Speaking of teams that, have been dominating the league, we just talked about the quarterbacks. And a lot of the teams that we just talked about, those quarterbacks, looking like they're going to be all on this list. So we'll give out, for the first time this year, our top 5. We could do top 10, but we're going to do top 5. Top 10's too easy. We're going to do a top 5.
People.
It's not too easy because that's when you get 6 through 10. Now we start yelling at each other going,
I mean,
Joe,
we could do top
10. Number 1.
Hey, I gave you guys the opportunity if you wanted top 10.
5 is good. 5 is good.
Joe was actually the first one to say top 5 because, Ted takes forever to respond. But anyways, we're going to do our first initial top 5 power rankings for the 2021 season. From here on out, we'll be doing our top 5 rankings each week. So, Joe, we're going to start with you.
We should do it every 4 weeks.
Yeah,
it's like a quarter.
It could change every week. Who knows? So here's Joe's top 5 list. The Arizona Cardinals are number 1. The Buffalo Bills are 2. The LA Rams are 3. Wow, LA Rams. The Bucks have 4. Joke. The Bucks should be higher. Chargers. Wow, the big surprise is the LA Chargers. Joe's
on the bandwagon.
We're all on the Chargers now. Joe's doesn't want to admit it right now.
Joe's like, wow, the Keys boys knew about Herbert.
And look, he's also on the LA Rams bandwagon, Sal. Look at him. This guy's
I'm watching. I watch and I learn.
Listen, at the end of the day.
Here's the thing. Listen, I can look at things very objectively. I see what I see. I mean, I shot Arizona to the top because I think Arizona's right now, offensively and defensively, the best team in the league. Buffalo, I think, is a close second. Their defense,
are they the most complete team?
They could be. Okay. They could be. I mean, I'm still concerned about Buffalo's running game. It still didn't look great this week.
Yep.
So, the Rams might be a little more complete than Buffalo, to be honest, at the 3 spot. But
okay.
I decided I wanted to go AFC, NFC on 1, 2. I thought that would just make more sense. But to be honest, you could slot them into the 2 and drop them to 3. I'd be all right with that too.
Okay. Well, here's the top 5 from Ted's list. Bills, the Buffalo Bills, the Arizona Cardinals, LA Rams. Both of you have the LA Rams at number 3. The Tampa Bay Bucks and the Dallas Cowboys. I have no problem with this list either. I mean, it's.
Listen, if I was doing top 10, Ravens would be 6, Chargers would be 7. And the only reason why I don't have the Chargers more is because I think their defense is a much more of a liability than anything. And the reason why the Cowboys are at 5 is because they can beat you in multifacets of the game right now. They can run the ball all over you. They can throw the ball over you. And here's the other thing. Their defense, it reminds me of the Saints when they won the Super Bowl. They're not great, but they're opportunistic. And if you remember that Saints team that year, they led the league with takeaways with 45.
Guys,
right now, the Cowboys, I think, lead the league or in second in the league with takeaways. And as much as I don't want to say it, Trayvon Diggs is a shutdown corner. I mean, even the one he didn't get for an interception when he was flying in the air about 10 feet over in the sky and caught the ball out of bounds. He's got exceptional hands. He's got great catch-up speed. So he's a shutdown corner. And then Parsons. And here's the other thing. Once they get some of their guys that are on the injured defense with Dexter Lawrence, that defense is only going to get better.
Dexter Lawrence to Marcus Lawrence.
Oh, I do that all the time. I don't know why.
And I always have to correct you.
Well, because I'm always thinking as a Giant.
They are second right now, only behind the Buffalo Bills with 11 turnovers. They have 7, Dallas currently. So Here's my top. I mean, I have no problem. Here's my top 5 list.
Bills, Cards. Okay, you.
Well, you really like them Cowboys, huh?
I think the reason why I put the Cowboys over the Chargers is because of the fact that they beat them the head-to-head match.
Fair enough.
And
the Chargers should have won that game.
Yeah, but you wouldn't rank the Giants ahead of the Saints because the Giants beat the Saints. I don't know that necessarily correlates in the NFL.
Okay, you're right. Fair enough. You're fair enough. I would put the Cowboys too because I do think, other than the Bucs in the NFC, I think they're the scariest team in the NFL right now. I mean, they are.
Their defense is much better than I think any of us that wasn't a Cowboys fan thought. So yeah, they're right on the outside for me. Maybe 6.
Why do you have the Chargers over in 5?
Listen. I'll give you the reason why I put the Bills at number 1 because I do not believe the Cardinals could go into Arrowhead and do what the Bills did on Sunday night. I think the Cardinals are very good. I think the Cardinals are a very, very good team. Cliff Kingsbury. His ass is on the line coming into the beginning of the season. It looks good right now, but they have to continue pedal to the metal. And they won, and the way they won on Sunday, I was very impressed. They didn't win by the fireworks. They didn't win by scoring 40 points a game. They won on the defensive side of the ball. So they have a huge test this weekend going into Cleveland. If they go into Cleveland and they beat the Browns, the Cardinals look out because we got another team you could just add to that NFC list. Reason I put the Bucs, I mean, how can you not put the Bucs? They're the champs. They still look like they haven't missed a beat. Their defense is a questionable mark with the secondary. They have a lot of injuries in the secondary. But when you got Brady and you got that offense that's putting up 30-plus points a game, you're going to be in every game. Dallas Cowboys, their offense is as good as anybody in the league. Zeke looks like Zeke. Dak looks like he hasn't missed a beat either. And that defense, like we just said, I don't think we could have ever expected them to be where we were expecting them to be better. They couldn't have got any worse from last year. But Dan Quinn has transformed this defense. Trayvon Diggs, his brother, has become a stud, an absolute stud in the back end of that defense. And Micah Parsons looks like an early rookie of the year, runaway rookie of the year candidate. This team is going in the right direction. My biggest flaw for them is not the players, it's the coach. That's what my biggest flaw for the Dallas Cowboys is. And the reason why I put the Chargers, I think the Chargers, with the way they've won the past couple of weeks, beating the Browns, losing by double digits too, Brandon Staley is as gutsy as they come in the NFL, going forward for multiple fourth down conversions, converting on those fourth down conversions. You have a bona fide superstar in Justin Herbert. You have a bona fide superstar in a running back. And you have a plethora of weapons in that receiving core. That defense is a struggle, but I like them more than I do the Ravens. And if I had to put I put the Rams at 6, I put the Ravens at 7, I put the Packers at 8. That would be my top 8 right now. But I'm taking this as my top 5 right now.
I like it. Although I would point out the Rams beat the Bucs, so maybe they should be 3 and everybody should.
That's understandable.
You like that, Teddy?
But here's my thing. I trust. I'll take Brady over Stafford. It was a home game. They were fired up. I didn't like how they bounced back after that. But we will be back later in the week to discuss. We're going to be talking about the LCS, NLCS, and ALCS. We are not just Yankee fans. We are baseball fans. We're going to be talking about it and how maybe the Yankees could take a page out of the Boston Red Sox, well-deserving of a ALCS appearance. And we'll also be talking about the Arizona Cardinals, Cleveland Browns, and the New York Giants. We'll see what happens with their new-looked offense this week in a huge game. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys to the City. We're streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So comment, like, subscribe, or share. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness. In the making, double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.